The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
This is Africa Diaspora Connect.
Join us as we take the journey from the motherland to America.
We share our experiences and learn from them.
Here is our host, Kibathi Gaturu.
Welcome once again to the Africa Diaspora Connect that you heard. I am your host, Kibathi Gaturu, coming live and direct from Studio 21 in Salem, New Hampshire. Happy 4th of July weekend just went by us. A lot of fireworks. Those that remember what happened, good for you. Those that don't, hey, next time, pay attention. 4th of July. What are we talking about today? Today, I have a very special guest. We keep talking about that pilgrimage back to the motherland, you know, that trip back to Zamunda after spending maybe a decade, 2 decades in this here U.S. or whatever diaspora you're in. How do you settle in? How do you acclimate? We've had a lot of stories, success stories, and others. Today, I'm going to have a very, very close brother of mine who's going to tell us his journey from Massachusetts back to the 254. I'll introduce him in a second after I do pay some bills. This episode today is brought to you by Acacia Grill. Oh yes, that Kenyan restaurant serving home-style tasty meals in Worcester, Massachusetts. Started through dedication, resilience, and passion to bring people together to enjoy home-style tasty meals. Created with the... Okay. We had a little bit of a situation technical difficulty over there.
Let's try that again. Started through dedication, resilience, and passion.
Let's do that. And passion, that's where we are. And people getting together, tasty home meals, creatively and uniquely prepared with a touch of our Kenyan culture. When you visit Acacia Grill, you are assured of a delicious meal that is carefully and uniquely prepared with the right amount of each ingredient to give you that unforgettable home-style experience. Don't miss their Fish Friday special, Samaki, Kila, Ijumaa. I think Friday is Ijumaa, Lamisi Ijumaa. Every Friday they offer special promotion for any fish of your choices with 2 sides. Enjoy delicious fish every Friday. Acacia Grill, authentic, fresh and prepared with passion. 1105 West Boylston Street in Worcester, Massachusetts. Phone number 774-243-1016. They are open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Ask for Penny Gatau, and she will take you where you need to be. So, that said, Andrew, my man, do you hear that fish? Mwesikio samaki. Inavutia. I'd like to introduce folks a very close friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Musingo Otieno. Andrew is the MD for Coca-Cola Kwanza, a subsidiary of Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, CCBA, in Tanzania. CCBA operates in 14 countries across Africa and is the largest Coke bottling partner on the continent and 8th largest in the world by revenue. He will be transitioning to a new role this coming August as a Chief Integration Officer, homebred right here in Massachusetts. Oh my God, what a reunion. Bwana Andrew, Bwana Otieno, man. Karibu sana. Welcome to the Africa Diaspora Connect. Karibu, brother.
Asante, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Great to be with you.
Oh, man, it's been a long time coming, man. You know, we go back, you and I, we go back quite a while. Let's start from our genesis here in Massachusetts. I think you were then with you're with KPMG, and we took a leap to PwC together, right? We kind of did something together. Was that the case?
Yes.
That was the.
Talk to me.
Well, I just gave you facts. I gave you facts, man. I just gave you facts. I just gave you a much better package. That's what I do. I give better packages. That's me for you, man. But you were phenomenal. Then you were pursuing your CPA right about then. Then you went back to Babson. Is it Bentley or Babson?
Yes. Babson.
Lena Babson ukafanya is what your MBA?
MBA.
Yes. Tell us your story, man. Let me not tell her. Let's hear about your foundation. Your U.S. foundation, college, get into where you started working and where you ended up before you left from the motherland. You tell us your story.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Chris, and great to be with you. It's certainly been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
So I first moved to the US in 1992 to join college at Providence College in Rhode Island. So I was the only Kenyan, as a matter of fact, at Providence College.
Yeah.
I happened to find it because my late uncle, may he rest in peace, was a priest there and a student there as well. So he connected me there.
Okay.
So I went to Providence for 4 years, graduated in 1996 with a double major in finance and management. And then upon graduation, I had the opportunity to join KPMG in Boston.
That was one of the big six then, right? There was six of them, right?
But
There was
yes,
six.
There were six of them, so big six.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I wasn't a finance major. I wasn't an accounting major. I was a finance major. So I needed to do a crash course in accounting, which they sent me to at the University of Washington in Seattle. I then came back and began working with them as I studied for my CPA. I worked with them for about 2.5 years, and then Chris Gaturu happened.
Gaturu happened. Yes, sir.
We connected. I think it was at an National Black Accountants Forum.
Yeah.
You are just getting into recruiting, or you've been doing recruiting for a while.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity at gain a different experience at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah.
And so I made the jump, leap of faith with you.
Thank you for trusting in me.
Yeah, fantastic. And it helped you pay some bills as well.
It did. It did. I needed them.
And then joined PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I was for 6 months. At that stage, I'd done 3 years and had an opportunity then to join the Gillette company. And the motivation behind joining the Gillette company was so that they could sponsor my MBA. I joined them as an internal auditor, and they paid for my MBA at Babson. Worked with them in internal audit as well as cost accounting, and I was with them for a period of 4 years. And at that stage, come end of 2003, my second H1 visa was coming to an end.
I remember.
And I'd done the 1 year of practical training. So I had a total of 7 years, 4 years of college, and then 7 years of working experience.
Yeah.
And I was then at that familiar crossroad that I know a lot of Kenyans, a lot of foreigners would have after when the H1 visa is lapsing.
Yeah.
What do? You get married to stay in the country,
yeah,
or take the leap of faith and head back home. So at the time, two good friends of mine from Boston, the late Joseph Kimani,
Bishop, rest in peace, brother.
He'd made the jump back a year prior, and he was with Coke. And then a lady we were with together at Gillette, another Kenyan, Rosalind, also followed heading back home. And both of them moved back through, I think, Careers in Africa, the Careers in Africa Forum in London. And so I was fortunate that I had two people who'd gone, I suppose, ahead of me. So when I was at that crossroad, I connected with them to understand, making contacts and exploring options. And so by the time I was leaving, at the time now I made the decision to go back in beginning of January 2004. I had collective of 7 years of experience in audit, internal audit, cost accounting at Gillette, and then some project work, Sarbanes-Oxley project work as well.
So here you are, you got your Sarbanes 404 work, you're a CPA, you're an MBA, you got pedigree written all over you. But I remember the leap of faith that you call it, and the uncertainty, and granted you had Kinabisho and everyone else there ahead of you. But I remember it was a bit of anguish, a bit of it's like, okay, fine, what do I anticipate? And I know you were talking to other firms as well. I think you were talking to Deloitte back in Nairobi. Yes. You were talking to a few other people. But I remember that. And I remember I think we had just come from lunch. And I was like, boss, just jump, man. Just jump. Just go get this thing. There's no one like you, man. You know, this cushion is going to be there for you. You've done all the hard work. You've put in the foundation. And just mentioned all those years of experience, academia, the credentialing. You've done the hard work. But then again, it's the uncertainty of what brings across the pond back in the 254 back in Africa. So you land in Kenya, and then what opens up for you now? What do you hit the ground running of day one with Coke, or what happens? Get the transition before you settle in.
So in fact, good thing that you mentioned the late Bishop
Yeah.
as well. He was instrumental, really, because listening to him, what the journey and path he'd gone through, and something that he said to me that really helped cement kind of my decision to move back. And he asked me the question, would you rather be a small fish in an ocean or a big fish in a small pond?
Hey.
And that was the analogy of coming back home, leveraging your experience, etc., and you can accelerate. You can
Like, Otieno,
leapfrog.
you like fish too much. Everything has to do with fish. You have everything is you can. Inside joke. Inside joke.
I'm from the lakeside.
You are from the lakeside. We had a joke for another day. Yeah.
But that really
Yeah.
resonated with me. It's coming back, and reality was, by the time I was leaving the US, I didn't have any people I was managing.
Yeah.
I had direct reports.
Yeah.
So moving back immediately, I had direct reports. I moved back, and it took me some time, because before I moved back, then I made the contacts through Bishop, late Bishop, with Coke, lined up some interviews. So by the time I was landing in January, I'd already lined up a few interviews through Bishop, and then through some other contacts at the Deloitte and Touche.
What year was this now? What year was this? You're back. When did you land?
January 2004.
January 2000. So you were in Massachusetts from 1992 mpaka
Yes.
2004. So 12 years, about 11, 12 years.
No. Yeah, 11 years.
Yeah.
11 years, because it was beginning of 2004. So I don't really count it as a full year. So it's 11 years.
11 years.
Total, yeah.
Wow, a little bit over a decade. So you've landed in the 254. You have some networks happening in there for you. So walk us through deciding on where you're going to end up.
So then conducted the interviews. It was also the hectic thing. I was staying with my uncle at the time. I hadn't, and by the time, just to go back a bit, I never really lived in Nairobi, because we lived in Nairobi. By the time I was leaving to come to the US, my parents lived in Mumias. My dad worked at Mumias Sugar Company, so
Absolutely.
Western Kenya.
Yes.
So Nairobi was foreign to me. I only came through Nairobi really when I was coming to board the flight.
Understood. So, you're not alone.
Lining the streets of Nairobi and driving in Nairobi was hectic
in of itself.
Car, what helped me, at least in the initial, I had the buffer. I withdrew my 401k little savings that I had in the US. So the dollar at least went a long way back then.
Yeah.
And helped me in terms of getting the basics, getting a car, finding a place to stay, to live, etc. But one thing that was for sure, the cost of living was far much lower than what I was used to in the US at the time.
Understood.
Then began going through the interview process. So interviewed with Deloitte, and then Coke as well. Coke took a bit longer. Deloitte came through faster, so I had an offer. To start with, I got an offer from Deloitte in consulting, though it was the trade-off was it wasn't a manager role. They wanted me to go in as a principal consultant, meaning I would have to work my way up, and there was no guarantee. Yet the trade-off with the benefit with Coke was that it was in my field of expertise in finance. It was my comfort zone, so something where I could really grow and accelerate. And the challenge with consulting as well, I needed to do business development. I didn't have the networks and the like. So initially, I accepted Deloitte, the offer from Deloitte, because a bird in hand is what two in the bush.
You can say that again. Yep.
And as I was waiting on Coke, and in the meantime, the late Bishop was telling me, "Hey, just be patient, don't rush.
I'm coming through."
So I ended up, again, taking another leap of faith to, after accepting just the day before I was to report, I wrote back and turned it down. And so it was a gamble that Coke was going to come through. Unfortunately, Coke came through.
Good for you.
Joined Coke as a treasury accountant beginning of March of 2004. So it took me just a little under 2 months before I was gainfully employed. The trade-off, don't expect, if you're coming back, don't convert your US-based salary and expect to have that equivalent in Kenya.
Okay.
Forget that. It doesn't. There's that you're going to have to. The equivalent pay cut I took at the time was approximately 30%.
But it's not a pay cut. The cost of living is much lower, right? So you can't
Yeah, it's
really
much
come in
lower.
here,
So, and that's where I was going.
Yeah, exactly.
It's took a pay cut, but
Yeah.
my disposable, like my
Income.
rent as an example,
Yeah.
against my disposable income in the US was about 30%.
Yeah.
Back here it was 15%. So I had a lot more disposable income, and the quality of life I had all of a sudden. Living as a bachelor, I had a maid coming in to cook.
You're
For
doing.
the first month, I was eating chapatis.
What
every day.
is?
So it was good, the quality of cost of living is low, and quality of life is also quite good. So it was adapting to now. Again, things were slower at the time in terms of in the US, you're used to things moving, and this was 2004. This is over 18 years ago. Things were slower. Then so adapting to kind of the pace of life.
Let's touch on that. Let's touch on that. And while on that, so the pace. You've come from the PwCs of the Western Hemisphere. Sasa umerudi, you're back in the motherland. This grind. This place is a grind. This way. This place is terrible. I mean, what do you think in comparison to the kind of work-life balance you had when you landed? True or false?
Yeah. However, what I expected was that kind of coming back it would be slower, but people also grind in Kenya at the time. What I found was guys who are like you talked about the pedigree in terms of the academia, etc. Guys who were equally qualified. Guys that studied local schools, University of Nairobi, but very sharp, very bright, and so you had to also show what you're bringing to the table. You couldn't just take it for granted that because you had the foreign experience.
But do you experience any kind of pushbacks from the Wenyejis when you get there? So here, you've been clouted as this guy just came from the U.S. Is there any kind of pushback you get? You feel like, okay, I got to prove myself to these folks. What's it like transitioning back in the motherland?
There was the proving yourself, but it wasn't, to be honest, similar to the proving yourself that I felt when I was in the U.S. Because in the U.S., being minority, you're always the bar is always high. You have to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
Here it was really, it's how do you demonstrate or leverage without showing off, but effectively using or utilizing then the skills that you've acquired. Because the way, as you say, the grind in the US is far much, it prepares you better. And if you come and maintain the same work ethic and not slow down, then you can go places. And for me, the breakthrough, and I think the reason why I've thrived, so I've been back 18 years. Of the 18 years, 14 years I've been with Coke.
Yeah.
I'll speak about the journey in a bit.
Yep.
But the very first, very first year when I came back, our group CFO came to visit Kenya. And I happened to go to have dinner with him.
That's the guy from South Africa or someone else?
The guy from South Africa. So he's our current group CEO.
Yep.
And so based on the way you're prepared in the US, you anticipate, like you make the most of these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Go prepared, ask your questions, etc., and impress based on kind of your level and demonstrate your competency through that. So just out of a dinner, he left with an impression. I stood out and he was like, okay, there's a potential talent that we need to look after. And within a year and a half, I had an opportunity for growth again, to go to South Africa with him as a mentor on a developmental program. So it was a finance director developmental program.
Amazing.
And it was, again, that opened again, it was almost a domino now for the rest of my career within Coke. But just back to the experience again, going when I first started working, speaking of the work ethic, within Coke, you have 6-week work days because it's fast-moving consumer goods. So
6-day work weeks.
6-day work weeks.
Okay.
So we are working on a Saturday
Whoa.
half day.
Whoa.
And that was completely, I was like, whoa, I wasn't used to this,
Whoa,
but
okay.
you adapt. And then during Easter, when it comes to the holidays, etc., the sales guys want you to still sell on the Sunday and on the holiday, etc. So you have to,
Allah.
because I was looking after the treasury, and I
Yeah.
remember early on just having to set the boundaries with the sales guys and say, hey, listen, you need to plan. Your lack of planning doesn't dictate kind of how we operate. So protecting the team, but I had that confidence to be able to push back. So it kind of, you have to find your way, and without, I mean, being disrespectful, etc.
Yeah.
But demonstrate, you deliver, and demonstrate that you are what
You're
you
worth
have what it
you're
takes.
worth your weight in gold. So the thing
Yes.
is, I have a lot of friends who try to make this transition, and it's been tough, man. It's been hard, and these are really highly polished folks, and I think, and everyone has their story to tell, but. You're walking in and you have interviews from day one. You're generating offers in under a month. What would you advise anyone who's looking to make this transition on how to hit that ground running fastest? Because it can be very, maybe oppressive is not the word, but it can be very challenging for a lot of folks,
Yeah.
especially corporate. Coming in, looking to get into corporate. What would you advise anyone who's really looking to come to the motherland and continue their career within corporate, having coming
Yeah.
in?
So when I was reflecting on my journey as well
Yeah.
in preparation for this, and just looking at it, I love acronyms. So one of the acronyms I came up with was MBA. You need an MBA here, transitioning, and it's not literally the academic MBA, but it's three things that are critical: the mindset, belief, and action. So mindset, from a perspective that if you come in, you need a growth mindset coming back. That no matter, don't get phased by the challenges and just be limited by what you know coming out of the US. Be open to taking the risk. So that requires a growth mindset, taking that leap.
Yeah.
And then linked to that is belief. You have to have very strong, high level of self-belief, self-confidence, because there are times when you'll be knocked down when things are not going right.
Yeah.
You need to have the inbuilt kind of belief.
Intestinal fortitude, we used to call it.
Yes, yeah, to persevere
Yeah.
and drive it. And then
Yeah.
mindset, belief are internal, but what you do also really matters. So the A is for action. And for me, action is then the three things that really help me, I think, have supported me through this process. And again, connection, you have to connect.
Yeah,
You have
network.
to make meaning, because you have a network in the US. You need to equally build a network then back home with the right meaningful, before you even land.
Yeah.
You need to have those contacts so that you at least having the introductory. And it's very difficult to do the interview and prospecting from there. You have to be on the ground to really, for someone to offer you a job, an opportunity, etc. You need to be on the ground physically.
Yeah.
So the connections are critical. Looking at people who've gone ahead, engage them, tap into them. You have to build your own networks. For instance, Bishop, yes, Coke was through late Bishop. Deloitte was through a different contact, a lady who in the US with, who used to work with them, connected me with one of the partners, etc. So it's you have to make those
I like
contacts
that.
and connections.
Mindset, belief, action.
Yeah. And then under action, connection, that's key and that's critical. Then you also have to find ways to reinvent both yourself and reinvent when you get the opportunity, reinvent the business. So do things a different way than the way you found them.
Okay.
And then lastly, under action for me is make a difference. You have to
Stand
make a
out.
difference. Stand out. Leave your mark wherever you are. So when people come in and say, wow, okay, this is something that no one else knew. So for instance, coming from the US, it's a silly example, but it may be a simple example, but something like pivot tables were commonplace. You
Yeah.
learned that in audits, etc.
Yeah.
Being able to do pivot tables.
Uh-huh.
Coming
18. That is
coming
18
back,
years ago.
18 years ago.
Yeah.
Now coming back, going to during my secondment assignment to South Africa, it was brand new to them. They're like, "Oh, pivot tables and the magic." They're thinking I was doing magic and using that to stand out.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was,
I got
it
it.
was quite interesting and so it's doing things in a different way, and that's what's propelled me. So if I tell you my story of the 18 years I've been back, 14 years I've been with Coke. The initial 8 years, and then I left for a 4-year period, and then I've been back with the business for over the past
Let's
4 years.
touch on that break.
Yeah.
Because you became a career coach, something
Yes.
of that nature, and that really intrigued me. Walk us through that phase when you decided, you know what, I am going to once again reinvent myself and do something totally different. And I think you grew in a totally different way when you did that. And you're this person you are now because of these journeys. The thing about you that I've come to learn is you're not scared of taking chances. You're that guy. You'll fold up your sleeves and just get it done.
In fact, the career coaching and taking the break was an easier bit. The bigger risk for me after 15 years or so in finance, taking the break from finance to go and sell. So I jumped from leading finance to go do sales.
Yeah.
Now leading a team of 27 people to leading 350 salesmen and women. That was a whole different ballgame.
And it's sales.
Sales and so forth, and my personality.
I know you're just a laid back, easygoing. This is a boiler room. This is when you hear sales, you hear boiler room. It's all about numbers and quotas. Meet those numbers, get those quotas done.
Yeah. So made that transition, and then after 2 years in the boiler room, as you say, had it was looking for a different experience. I was turning 40 at the time, just getting ready to turn 40. So that crossroad, what's next? And I've always had a passion for coaching, helping others. Then the natural progression was to go into training as an executive coach. So I'm an accredited executive coach, which really helps me fulfill kind of my passion for inspiring others and helping others. Then ended up running my own consultancy and coaching practice for 1.5 years.
I remember.
Before then getting back into employment and finding my way back to Coke 4 years later. And it's actually counting this year, it will be 5 years since I rejoined the business. And what's amazing, in the 5 years, I joined as a consultant, on a contract basis, 6-month contract, rejoined. Because I'd left, but because of my credibility and the track record I built before, I've been able to, in the 5 years I've been back, I'm now transitioning into my 6th role, and of all progressively higher roles. And then over the past 5 years also, I had the opportunity to do, again, another crazy thing, which was public affairs and communications. I'm not a PR person, but I found myself, being asked to step into that, and stepped in and thrived. And so it's been a constant, I think, the same theme: mindset, belief, action. You have to act on it. But then continuously, in terms of under action, the connection, reinventing. So don't stay the same. Don't stay static. Don't just stay with what you know. Reinvent yourself, both personally and professionally, and for the business, and then make a difference. So make a difference, stand out, make your mark. Those are the things that have really helped me, I think, along the way.
I have to ask you this, boss. You can't be. There's no time you tripped and fell and things weren't working out. This is like a fairy tale, man. This is too.
My guy, when the 4 years I was out. I was like 4 years in the wilderness, man.
Okay.
I was struggling to pay the bills. It wasn't easy.
So tell us, it's good to hear those sides, because I'm like, this guy is like, it's a fairy tale. It's just climbing this ladder. It's like.
It was particularly that period. I really regret in terms of I drew down on my savings, etc.
Uh-huh.
Trying to just, it wasn't rosy, and that's why I ended up getting back into gainful employment. In the last role before I got back into, so at the time now when I was looking to get back into proper corporate,
Uh-huh.
I was 42, I think.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, I had experience in finance and experience in sales. I was general manager material,
Yeah.
but nobody was willing to hire me. I had, during that period,
Yeah.
the first time I had 5 interviews that did not materialize. I knew there were roles I could do. And I think I remember having these conversations with you as well.
Yep.
It was just extremely frustrating. You're like, okay, what is it? Then what does it mean? I'll just continue doing coaching, consulting. The kids are growing. They have needs.
Yeah.
International school,
Yeah.
to pay the fees, etc. So it was hectic. So it was by chance now getting back into, again, Coke. And again, it speaks to building your track record that you can draw on.
Yeah.
And leveraging, and then again, the contacts, connections, etc. really helped me then to get back in. And it's through that I've been able to maneuver and get to where I am.
And
now.
it's good, and I'm glad you brought that piece out. I mean, it's good to see. Everyone goes through a hard, tough patch. It's just what you do about it and how you get to overcome it. And it's there are no streets out there that are paved with gold, but it's that MBA component you just mentioned. Those 3 different attributes that are broken up into different facets, and you've been able to implement those to work for you. And coming over that and overcoming whatever it is you had to overcome. Amazing story, man. Amazing story, Andrew. And you and I, man, it's you're one of the few guys that I know that went back to the motherland. And I have several friends who have done really well for themselves. But these are the stories we want to hear. And I like this as a corporate image. And my next guest, one of these fine days, is going to be someone on the Biashara side. I want to sit down with someone who left the diaspora. And folks, my crew, ADC, you're listening to this. Lift your hand. Let's hear how you're doing. Ladies, let's hear what you're doing out there. We want to share these stories. And that's one of the main purposes that I have this thing here going, Andrew. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I'll refer someone to you. You may remember him, Tony Njoroge.
All right, listen. Bring him on, man. I would love to hear from these folks. Let's share, and that's how we grow as a family. That's how the Africa Diaspora Connect is going to grow. Now, I want to congratulate you on the next role you're picking up. It's going to be official, I think, as of this week right now. Chief Integration Officer, is that what it is? Is it integration?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, integration.
And that's a hot thing out here, man. This whole thing with integration is a hot thing, man. And you're going to be learning amazing things, brother. You're the boss, man. There is no one like Andrew Otieno, Salimia, your family, your beautiful wife, your 2 sons, and just keep doing. Like the old Naba, you remember the old Naba motto, lift as you climb. That's you, man, lifting as you climb. So you're here, folks, Africa Diaspora Connect. You're hearing it from my brother, Andrew Otieno. That journey from the diaspora to the motherland, it can be done. Is it easy? No, it's not. But you heard how he did it. You heard how he maneuvered, and the sky is the limit. I'd like to ask you once again, if you haven't already subscribed, come on, folks. Come on. Andrew, subscribe kwanza. Subscribe.
Yeah, miniko.
Okay, Kondani. Okay, find us on Facebook, YouTube, Africa Diaspora Connects. You can listen to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary. Come on now, end of this month, 2,000 subscribers. I'm not asking for much. Let's celebrate. I need your help. ADC needs you to get it there. So, if there's something you'd like to talk about, please hit us. Africa Diaspora Connects at gmail.com. We will air it. We'll talk about it. We'll hear it, and we'll make it happen. Let us know what you want to hear. Andrew Otieno, asante sana ndugu yangu. Let's stay in touch. The sky's the limit. Keep lifting as you climb, man. Asante.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Keep up the good work.
Cheers, man. We're trying, baby. We're trying. All right. Thanks, Chrissy.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.